Hi, today I'm going to be talking about my favourite books that I read in 2020. I was able to narrow it down to 10. Don't ask me to rank it from there, it's very hard. I find it very difficult to quantify how much I like a book because I feel like in the moment reading it is when I'm enjoying it the most. And then in retrospect I feel like it's always not as good just because time has passed and I'm not actually in that world. Okay, so first I want to start with two honourable mentions. The first being Lovely War by Julie Berry. We had this as part of the Phillips Gale book club this year. Can't remember what month. And as you can see, I tabbed it a lot. And so this is like a historical fiction romance set in World War II. It was very like swoon-worthy and cute, but also heartbreaking. And so I liked it a lot, but I just don't think it's like favourite tier for me. And the other I don't own, I got from the library, which is Little Fires Everywhere, which I'd heard a lot about it being like atmospheric, and it really was. Like just the writing, it like took me for a ride. I wasn't the biggest fan of the ending. Also the TV show kind of put a bit of a sour taste in my mouth because it just changed a lot. I think this is in chronological order of where I read them in the year. Could be a bit different. But anyway, the first one is Wise Man's Fear by Patrick Rothfuss. I read Name of the Wind last year, loved it. And even though I think I like the first one better, I'm still just really enjoying Patrick's writing and the story. I know people have issues with Quoth, but I don't have any problems. I'm just really intrigued. And like everyone else, now I am waiting for Doors of Stone. I don't know how he's going to wrap it up. But you take your time, Patrick. You make it good. You make it good. Next one is God's Grave by Jay Kristoff. I know this is a pretty polarizing series, but I gotta say I think God's Grave was my favorite of the trilogy. We have a lot of kind of gladiator, blood on sand action, which makes me very happy, as well as like the craziest cliffhanger ending, which I did not see coming at all. I'm sure someone out there did. I'd say if you didn't like Nevernight, give God's Grave a chance. And I feel like as the series go on, the footnotes get a bit less. I liked the ones that were funnier more than the ones that were world building, because I was like, that's too much information that's not coming into play. You'll see a theme here that like I don't read releases as they come out. I'm always catching up. And so I read Red, White and Royal Blue this year, and people were so right. It was very funny and cute, and also just like some of the political aspects were like frustrating but overall satisfying when we kind of overthrew some of the bigotry. Next one is Again But Better by Christine Riccio. And again, like what since when do I read contemporary romance? That's like 2 back to back. I had to pick this up because I love Christine, and luckily I really liked it. You know, I was really worried that I'm like, what if I love her but I don't love the book? There are a lot of references that it's like, okay, Christine definitely wrote this. But I have to say there is a twist in the book. I'm not going to tell you what it is, but that just kind of took the story to like another level, and it's just something I really love to see in like movies or just any kind of stories, and that just really elevated the story, and I found it so fun, and I'm probably going to read it again. The next one is a no-brainer, and that is Chain of Gold by Cassandra Clare. I think as she keeps publishing, like they keep getting good. I found the characters very interesting, and it was great going from some of the novellas into this and seeing kind of the broad variety of characters we have there, and I love it, and there was a lot of intrigue. I think I'm gonna have to reread this before Chain of Iron, but I'm really enjoying it. And that's saying something, because after Queen of Air and Darkness, that didn't feel finished, and I was like, when's the next book? And this is the next book that doesn't follow on from there, and I was like pissed. But after reading this I wasn't pissed, so I was like, okay, this is a good enough distraction until you keep going with that plot. I read A Curse So Dark and Lonely and A Heart So Fierce and Broken, so I just, you know, talk about both of them. But I liked Heart So Fierce and Broken more than I liked the first one. I know not everyone agrees, but I love Grey in the first book, I love Grey in the second book, plus I love our new character, and the third book is coming out and it's so good. So yeah, this is yet another retelling of Beauty and the Beast. which, you know, you'd think would be done by now, but it's different enough and cool enough that I still enjoyed it. If you just want like a YA fantasy that's going to be fun and quick, this is it. Plus we have some representation in here for some disabled rep, which is really great. Second no-brainer on this list is House of Earth and Blood by Sarah J Maas. Yes, that might make me a bit of a basic bitch, but I love Sarah J Maas, and this was great. And, you know, look, there was a lot of world building, a lot of stuff that happened on here, but like this book gave me the feels. I cried. There was like a great just kind of like overcoming sassy moment. There was like a bit of touch and go there. And just, yeah, again, I love it. It's great. How do I summarize this? So we follow our character Bryce, who's called in to help with this paranormal murder mystery where she has to team up with this angel guy. She's part fae and a lot happens. The magic is really cool. Like learning about the drop in that scene, if you know what I'm talking about. Whew. The next one I don't own yet, and that is Girl of Fire and Thorns by Rae Carson. There's some royal intrigue, there's some trekking across the desert, there's some like freedom fighting activism. It's great. Ah, that's right, yeah, so she's kind of married off, but then it's kept a secret, which is really weird. Also, she is like this chosen one, and she has this like magical gemstone like in her belly button. Next is Children of Blood and Bone by Tomi Adeyemi. I got to this so late, I know. And I just found the world so fascinating. The magic was so cool as well. I just still have like these mental pictures of this town that's like on stilts in the water. This was very actiony. The characters were annoying at times, but the ending was very like whoo-hoo-hoo, so I'm very excited to get to book 2. And the last book I would like to talk about is Words of Radiance by Brandon Sanderson. So I've read a lot of Brandon Sanderson this year. I read Mistborn, I read Warbreaker, and then I started on these bad boys and Skyward. But these are my favourites so far. Mistborn was cool, don't get me wrong, but this is more my vibe. This is book 2 in the Stormlight Archive, where we follow these bunch of characters and we're at war. Evil magic is coming again and people have started to get powers to defend the kingdom. That's the best way I can do it. But it is a very broad, expansive, detailed world, and the characters are great. I'm very intrigued where it's going, and we're not even halfway there yet. It's going to be like a 10-book series. There's a lot of tabs in here. For any context, green was for like funny, happy moments, and there's lots of those. There are a few sad moments, and it was very much like an oh my god ending. Those are my favourite books I read this year. If you haven't read them, go right now. What are you doing? And let me know if we have any books in comment or any recommendations based on the books I just talked about. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.